Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to irondinos. Today we've got games of golf for you. Bomber Crew. I'm here with Shaun.
Yo!
And yeah, this is, to all effects, basically a management sim in a world war. I don't know if it specifies, but yeah, in the war. And have you played much of this, dude?
I played through the tutorial, and then I played a little bit more, and then I fell asleep holding the controller, and that was enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, there's so much going against this to me as a starting point. One, I really detest things about actual war, right? Two,
Yeah.
I'm really not a fan of management sims. And three, I'm really not a fan of things with wonky controls that don't seem to make a lot of sense, don't seem to do what they say they'll do all the times, and four, and or D, I can't remember if I was doing it by numbers or by letters. I was really bored. I'm sure it does ramp up and get increasingly tense and exciting as time goes on, but that is not time I am willing to give this game.
Yeah, you're echoing everything that I felt and thought in the first sort of hour or so of playing this. So it takes quite a while to first get set up and to get all the crew together and make sure all the equipment's on and stuff like that. I don't mind that. That's slightly interesting to me. But once you've done it once, you don't really want to be going for it again and again and again. Especially if you happen to lose a couple of crew members like I did on the first mission, which was fun. I say the first mission proper. It's basically the first mission is the tutorial. So I've skipped all that, and we're into sort of the first mission proper, if you like. And yeah, I found it boring. I found it very very weak, and the controls. It says in one of the missions, or it basically says select your bomber. So you go over to the bomber and you select your bomber, and it says, right, tell him to get into position or something along those lines. And so I'm selecting him, and if you can see now, I've selected the pilot, and some options have come up below as to what that particular crew member can do. He's the pilot, so you can, lower gear, raise gear. You can tell him to fly high, medium, low, blah, blah, blah. Well, when I selected the bomber, there was no options coming up. And for the life of me, I could not figure out why. And every time I tried to select him, it seemed to go off of him. And then I'd have to reselect him. And sometimes it wouldn't select him. Sometimes I couldn't get to select screen. And it was so frustrating, I almost turned it off and cancelled the video altogether.
I'll say, just to explain a little bit, so you hold B and it brings up your... So this is a lot of the game. So you hold left trigger and on a particular point, and that is where you fly, but that is set by the game. So you don't really need to... There's no real reason for that to actually be in your hands. Then you press B, as you can see here. He's going through his crew. Then he's selecting something within the ship for them to do. You can do all that, and you've got all sorts of wonderful different selections to do. And we're on a bombing run, so now he's selected that crew member, put him in bombing position, collect the bombs, and now he's getting ready to release them over the target. Also, nice thing is you can speed or slow down time. Why you'd ever slow it down, I don't know. But yeah, so there is a lot of options and a lot of things to keep track of. But I found that a bunch of those things, I didn't see why they were options other than to give you more things to click on. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it seemed like too many clicks to do one action, and that was frustrating as hell for me. Yeah, it's like I expected to when it said select the bomber, I expected select the bomber, and you automatically have control of him, and then you can just say right, prepare to release bomb, and he would be automatically in the position. But no, when you to get him in that position, I don't know if you saw, but I had to first select him, and then had to go across to him, and then had to click on him to come off of the seat, and then had to click again to click on the position he's in now, which is laying down. I later find out you can go straight to that, but only if you've got the cursor in the exact right position on the plane. And it's just too many clicks. It's too many things to try and do.
As you've seen again here, with plotting where he's going to run, and the same with targeting those ships. You'd think these guys would just sit there and shoot at the fighter. If they're in a gun, they'd shoot at the fighter jets. But no, you have to go onto them. You have to hold down left trigger for a couple of seconds till it highlights.
Yeah.
Then they'll start attacking, and that is not dynamic gameplay at all, but it's also not quick enough for you to... It's not just a case of, right, you can back out of this menu, there are the things, you can highlight that cluster and then be back into this bit. All of it feels... all of these things feel like they're done in a contrary way to what would either be immersive or fun. And
yes.
So it feels like it just feels like in almost every one of the ways in which to create this game, they've chosen wrongly.
Exactly. So just to explain what's happening on screen right now. So my plane got shot, and then there was an electrical failure. So I selected the mechanic to send her over there to fix it, and the fire broke out, and she's now down, and I've got to send one of my other crew to pick her up. However, the fire's in the way, and because I couldn't see a fire extinguisher at all, I had no option but to try and get her. And first of all, he walks straight past, and he goes on fire, and I'm like, oh great.
Perfect.
So now, okay. So his life's rapidly going down. I'm like, hurry up, get her, drag her out, and then he goes down. So now I've got two people in the fire, which I have no fire extinguisher for, so I can't put it out. My engine's on fire, and I haven't got the option to put that out either yet on this first mission. It just seems like the first mission, if you get into trouble, you're screwed. Because later on, you can buy all these things. You can buy a fire extinguisher. You can buy this. The pilot gets the ability to do a dive, which then puts out the fire on an engine. It's called emergency dive. I'll show that a bit later. That's quite cool, actually. But you don't get that till he reaches level 2. And it just seems like the whole thing, you're not prepared for this first bomber mission at all. And to escape without one of your men getting injured is nigh on impossible. I saw that there was a medical bed there, so I was like, oh, maybe that's another medical pack. So I sent him there and he lay down. I was like, for fuck's sake. Okay.
Running into the fire again?
Yeah, to try and get him. Come on, get him. Pick it up. No, I'm going to run straight past. Okay. Bearing in mind, I'm clicking like mad on that cross. This is what I'm saying. The controls don't seem to respond to how you want them to, and frustrating. And then
we have 3 down.
He goes down. So I think, right, sod that. Right, let's just try and get back to base before they die. And I have 22 seconds to do it. because I assumed once you got home, like that would like automatically just like.
It'd be like a ground crew would help with the situation.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as I can land, it should be fine. And I suddenly realised,
London doesn't look like any London I've ever seen.
But yeah, so yeah, I've lost one.
Yeah, so bear in mind, as we mentioned before, Adam has no control over this plane. Like, he can highlight an area, which he has done with this. He has done with this landing strip. And all the flying is actually done automatically. There is one thing I did enjoy about this, which gave me a sick sense of joy, because you have to... Oh, it doesn't look like you took the landing gear up, but you're supposed to manually put the landing gear down before you land. And
I totally forgot that.
I did that, got him into landing position, and then pulled the landing crew up, and it just crashed and exploded, and everyone died. It was the small amount of joy I got from the game.
You create your own fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I did the first one. Like, as you can see, there's not exactly a lot of stuff to do, and if stuff does happen, you can't really do bugger all about it. Yeah, okay. There you go. Right, see that emergency dives just popped up under Cecil Fleming? That's the... Because he's reached level 2, he gets that option, and they perform an emergency dive to put out engine fires or reach a lower altitude. So it's just like, yeah, I needed that on that mission.
Yeah. Well, it looks like there are only 8 missions in total if the thing along the top is correct. So, that's not too brutal. But I'm sure there's other stuff you can do. But it's like there are a million options in this. It's just none of them.
Oh god, yeah.
I didn't find any of them interesting. But again, that's me.
No, I'm totally with you on that. I mean, I got a small amount of joy by I all of a sudden got a load of Christmas jumpers to select. I was like, oh. So I went through those. I didn't include me going through those, of course, but I've selected one of them there, the red one. What I didn't realise was after doing all that, there's a button where you can press for everyone to get it. I spent ages going for every single individual person, then I finally found it, and I was like, oh, select everyone. Yes, that's better. Decorating the plane was quite fun, actually. That was quite good, because I got a few more options after doing the first run. I'm predicting that you get more the further you go on. Most of it costs money, but the direct decorations seem to cost nothing. So I was like, sweet. Of course, I went for the vampire bat.
Good man.
You have to go for the vampire. You have to. I mean, out of those, surely. And then I did get a little bit of joy out of... so you can name your plane. You can put a name across the plane. So... I, of course, named it loads of fun things and found out that I could literally name it anything and it would accept it. But I didn't include most of those. I just included the one that I finally picked. But yeah, as I say, loads of options. You can... When you get fully into the game and all these options come up and become available, I'm sure you could fully decorate the plane however you want.
Yeah.
So that's
unfortunately, while that customization is nice, it's only really useful if you're enjoying the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually around, so you know.
Exactly. Funny enough, it reminded me of the feeling of that was it Skatebird that you did?
Yeah.
And you said that the only enjoyment you got out of it was putting the different hats and stuff on the bird.
Yeah.
It felt like that. It was like I finally got to this bit and I could decorate the plane. I was like, oh, a bit of fun. This is good.
Called your plane Death Squad?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not very imaginative.
Well, I'd say my other names was a lot more imaginative, but I didn't really want to offend anyone. So, so I thought, well, no, I'll just stick with the one I finally landed on. So, this mission is where I turn a corner. So, up until now, yep, very boring. This took about an hour for me to get to. I'm sure you could probably do it a little bit quicker if you skip through a lot of the options and stuff. But this took me an hour, and this is where it got a little bit more chaotic in the management side of things. A little bit more like Overcooked, where you've got like a million and one things to try and do at the same time, and you're trying to manage them all and do them all. And I think that's the angle this game is trying to go for. It takes a long time to ever get to that stage. And like for this, like you're flying to the place, of course. Yeah. There's nothing to do. That's it. Like you're selecting these places to try and get to that show up on the screen, and that takes a fair few minutes. You know, you're just sitting there like watching out for these things, and you're just like, oh yeah, there's another one. Select that. And then it gets going. So an hour in, and I've got this dude come up, and I've got to try and go, and then I've got to try and drop supplies to him, but I didn't get a chance to do that pass. So there you go. So Felix, I've got to try and get Felix.
But this is still the same thing, though.
Yeah,
the bells and whistles is like it's still exactly what you were doing on the last one.
Yes, yeah. Until in a second or two. Loads more planes go. Well, you can see. Loads more planes out. There you go. Loads more. I'm like, oh crap. So you've got to select all these planes, which, as Shaun, as you said, like pain in the arse. You'd think they can just automatically target them, but no. So yeah, you got to target them, which is a pain. And then I thought, right, okay, things are going haywire, things are going wrong, and I realised everything's on fire. You'll see in a second.
That arrow is grimly pointing to your ship.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh dear, what's
it looks
going on?
okay. It looks okay.
And then, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and I'm like, Then all of a sudden, Parker comes out of ammo. And I'm like, oh crap. Then the electric's failed. Oh crap. Then Parker's injured as well, and I'm like, oh god. And then my engine catches on fire. So yeah, there you go. There's the emergency dive.
Oh, to the engine out.
Yeah, that puts the fire out. Yeah, so that's good. So that's quite useful. And then, yeah, this bit, I actually got into a bit. It's useful for point out as well, when you're selecting the crew, it does this nice thing of slowing down time. So that I found quite good. That was one of the little things that they decided to do, which I found quite useful. So you could slow down time and just sort of get your bearings and see what you're going to do. But yeah, so I've now got to heal, I think it's 3.
For the guy who's absolutely fine on the healing bed.
Yeah. So I've got to heal all 3 of them, done 1, and then I've got to ammo up everybody as well as fix the electrical, which I've just done. Davis I got to send back, so that gunner's not there. And then I noticed Fleming was getting low as well. So at one point, my plane doesn't even have a pilot.
How long does that need to point you to get more ammo for you to actually get more ammo? God's sakes.
Oh god, seriously, like there's so many things to try and do, and this is where I go back to the controls.
What the hell? Oh, I
see.
see.
She goes out on the plane.
I didn't even understand what was happening there for a second.
Literally climbs out on the wing and starts fixing the engine. When it said like fix the engine, I was like, well, how's she going to do that? It's on the wing. I selected it, and then she just starts climbing out. I'm like, oh okay. Middle of a gunfight, it's fine. Don't worry about it. So yeah, my plane now hasn't got a pilot.
Yeah.
So I select Woods, the navigator. You can fly. It's cool. And yeah, it just got hectic. But that bit I quite liked, because it was like, right, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. And it was the feeling of overcooked sort of came into it, and I was like, oh right, yeah, this is where it gets interesting. But then once you sort that out, and now I'm flying back to the supply bit,
Yeah.
It dies down again, and it's like there's not much to do again, and you're sort of like twiddling your thumbs a bit, and you're just like, oh.
Even when you're panicking, do you not feel that it takes away a lot of the stress that once you choose someone, it massively slows down, so you've got the time to stop and think and plan?
I mean, I like when you're selecting your crew, it slows down, because it gives you that second to think. But when it's doing all the other stuff, you don't have to keep the button down, you can speed it up. But because it was sort of like the first time I was going through it, I kept it on the slow, just so I could get my bearings and make sure I was doing it all right.
That's fair.
But yeah, and I found, I mean, the tutorial doesn't exactly show you a lot of this. Like, for example, the supply drop bit. I sort of had to learn that on the fly. I just assumed it was the bomber guy. I didn't actually know that was correct. Because like, there was no tutorial showing you that. So yeah, a lot of it you sort of have to sort of learn on the fly. There is an option at the base on tutorials, so I don't know if there's more tutorials stuff there. I didn't actually look, I only spotted that after I'd sort of done the video.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
but before we move on, can I just point, you kind of touched on it a little when we were flying to the latest mission. I think they did a good job of covering it in the trailer, because Christ does this look bland and barren.
Yeah.
Like, I when we were doing our Dino cast and talking about it, I was like, I think it looks quite cool for the graphics and stuff. When you're actually in it, no, it looks really cheap and really boring.
Yeah,
it looks.
It is. There's not a lot going on.
Yeah, it looks lifeless. It looks utterly lifeless, and it just doesn't. There's so many little things they could have done to make it look less empty and dead, but
yeah,
you know,
definitely,
it's just, for the most part, what you're looking at is an expanse of green and an expanse of blue, and then there's like a couple of planes somewhere in it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So, overall thoughts?
Yeah. I've got to be fair. This was never going to be for me anyway. It's not the kind of game I like. Yeah. It's not a setting I like. But if I'm going to go on the things I can be more objective around, which is, you know, things like aesthetics and things like speed and gameplay and, you know, moment-to-moment gameplay, it bored the arse off me, and it looks dull as dishwater. And I don't remember any of the sound effects, so I'm going to assume the music and sound engine, you know, sound design isn't particularly interesting either. So
Yeah, you get some engine noises, you get some gunfire noises. The voices are sort of that type of thing. You get some sort of oldie music when you're in the the bunker and stuff. But yeah, it's all pretty meh. But yeah, my opinion is exactly the same. But if you guys are interested, it is available to download on Games with Gold. But as for us, that is all. We shall see you next time. See ya!
bye bye.